Look, Operation Choke Point is real. It's big. It's from the very, very tippy top. This was a coordinated plan to shut down the fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. A week ago, everyone was freaking out. And I put on the Bitcoin orange pants. I put on my Genesis block socks. And I said, look what it says, right? Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Bailouts are good for Bitcoin and for crypto. And sure enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. In today's video, Mark Yusko, the CEO of Morgan Creek Capital Management, discusses the banking crisis and provides his assessment of the financial landscape. Yusko is very optimistic that the next bull run is just around the corner, especially considering the recent price action, where Bitcoin jumped by 33% in a week that saw the closure of another US crypto-friendly bank. Yusko argues that the coordinated plan to take down crypto, known as Operation Choke Point 2.0, will not work. In fact, the opposite is occurring as Bitcoin surges in price, nearing $28,500 in recent trading, the highest level since the crypto crash accelerated last June. Yusko has his own thoughts on this economic downturn, and he strongly believes that it's distinct from the global financial crisis. Let's listen to Mark Yusko as he explains why even in this banking crisis, Bitcoin cannot be stopped. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
This crisis, and people are calling it a crisis, is very different than the global financial crisis. And there's the core reason for that is the type of assets on the bank balance sheet. So if you think about what a bank does, it takes the deposits of everybody, the community puts their deposits in, and then it takes those deposits and makes loans. And those loans could be the form of a mortgage. We've all seen It's a Wonderful Life, where it's about the building a loan and building other people's homes. It could be loans to businesses so they can buy stuff or build products. But it can also be investments in yielding assets like bonds. Then we have the global financial crisis. Well, what was the global financial crisis? Well, the green was not so green. They made loans to, imaginary people and people's third homes and interest-only loans and all kinds of crazy stuff that was never going to get paid back. And so again, the gold disappeared and it had to be a bailout, which is why Bitcoin was born, right? The Genesis block is a picture of the Financial Times, chancellor on the brink of the second bailout for banks. And it's important that that day was the birth of Bitcoin, because it's not like it was created that day. It had been worked on during the global financial crisis. It's actually been worked on for 20 years before that, cryptography and trying to solve the double spend problem. But it was critically important that it was on that day, because it was basically saying that when a banking crisis happens, when there's a loss of confidence in a banking system, basically you vaporize the value, the money at the base layer of the system. And therefore the currency, the credit, because the only money in the world, Ash, and you and I have talked about this, is gold, right? Money is an asset that exists in the absence of a liability. That's gold for 5,000 years. Now, I'll argue it's Bitcoin for the next 5,000, but let's just say it's gold. What happens is when you lose confidence, then all of a sudden the value dissipates and you have to devalue the currency by printing more of it, by fiat. And so that fiat fiasco, as I like to call it, my hashtag fiat fiasco, that goes on over and over and over again is when governments that overspend, banks foment that and facilitate that. And then you have to pay the piper and they can't, so they just print more money. And we saw it in 2020, right? We printed half of all the money that's existed in the history of our republic, 247 years, half of it in an 18-month period. So what should have happened? Well, gold should have doubled. but it didn't. Why not? Well, because JP Morgan's been spoofing the price, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But the other asset did double. It almost perfectly doubled from 10 to 20,000, exactly as you would expect. That was Bitcoin. A week ago, everyone was freaking out, right? SVB, Friday, everyone was freaking out. And I put on the Bitcoin orange pants. I put on my Genesis block socks. And I said, look what it says, right? Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Bailouts are good for Bitcoin and for crypto. And sure enough, look, Operation Choke Point is real. It's big. It's from the very, very tippy top. Crypto, I believe, is the greatest technological innovation. And crypto broadly, cryptography and the securing of assets using blockchain technology. This technology, I believe, is one of the, if not the great technology of our age, okay? And I believe 100% it is an evolution of computing power that is as inevitable as computing was, the internet was, the mobile net was, the truth net, as I call it, is inevitable. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Decentralized is superior to centralized. Before Bitcoin, before 2009, before the chancellor bailed out the banks, we didn't have a way to have digital money that was secure. But we were in a financial repression. So what happened is the banks were paying depositors zero. They were buying government bonds at 2 or 3, making lots of money. JP Morgan had 0 negative trading days the last 3 years. 0. You've traded before, I've traded. It's impossible to have 0 negative trading days if you're actually trading. But if you're doing a riskless arbitrage and taking advantage of depositors, so with the advent of Bitcoin and crypto lending firms, I could convert my fiat to crypto, deposit it someplace. They would pay me 6% for a stable coin or 8% for Bitcoin. And then they would lend that out to people who wanted to use it for trading or other purposes. But that system was draining assets from the banks. If $1 billion leaves the banks, who cares? That's the first they ignore you. Then they fight you. 2022 to 2027, unfortunately, probably. Whoa, 100 billion? You took 100 billion out of the financial system? Well, no, wait a minute. Our leverage can't handle that. If you take the deposits away, okay, if you take those deposits away, our gold dissipates. The equity value of our business goes away. So we can't allow that. So what do? They fight. Well, how'd they fight? Oh, we're going to change the regulations. So that's one way. Well, then what's the other way? Oh, we actually can't turn off the technology, right? How many people have tried to hack Bitcoin? Lots. How many people have tried to stop Bitcoin? Lots. Can't do it. It's decentralized. You could shut down, you could shut down all the nodes in America, right? You could make them all illegal. Won't kill Bitcoin. Right? It's just not going to happen. So what do? On-ramps and off-ramps. We're going to attack the on-ramps and off-ramps. So what do? They go after Silvergate. They go after Signature. They got Silvergate down. Now look, Silvergate, there's probably some bad people doing some bad stuff. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but Mark Cohodes has some evidence that the guy who runs Silvergate was probably not the best person. Okay, fine. So that one probably need to go. Signature Bank, real bank doing real stuff. The percentage of crypto in that bank, tiny. The reason Signature Bank got taken over on Sunday, here's the weird thing. On Friday, we're talking about SVB. And it was clear, in my mind, that JP Morgan was going to buy them the same way that they bought Washington Mutual and Bear Stearns and everybody else. Well, the feds blocked that for some reason. Still not 100% sure why. And they said, no, we're going to do it. We're going to guarantee the deposits. Okay, but it wasn't Silicon Valley Bank on Sunday this time. It was also Signature. Signature was just shut down. Why? Now, Barney Frank comes out and says, well, because we do crypto. Okay, that makes some sense. The fact pattern suggests that this was a coordinated plan to shut down the fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. Now, if the people that are doing that believe that kills crypto, they just don't understand technology. Because it's literally like squeezing a balloon. The air just goes someplace else. Look, lobbying, fancy word for corruption, is a really powerful thing. And the financial services companies, the banks, are paying lots and lots of money to Ms. Warren and et al. To try to make it really hard for them to be disrupted by this better technology. But the same way that the horse and buggy people tried to stop the horseless carriage, didn't work. Same way the train companies tried to stop the airplane, didn't work. The same way that the telephone companies tried to stop the internet, it didn't work. This won't work either. The difference is size and scope and scale. Financial services is big.
Bitcoin has resumed its bullish streak after stagnating earlier in March and slipping below $20,000. It has gained almost 70% this year and has climbed for 9 of the past 10 days. While the Federal Reserve's interest rate decision this Wednesday is the next key catalyst, crypto is showing signs of fundamental strength, with Bitcoin trading at $28,093 at the time of writing. What do you think of Yusko's prediction? Is this really the beginning of the next bull run, or just a flight from banks into Bitcoin? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.